Hello and welcome to our special meeting on February 1st, 2023. So I'm going to open the meeting, moved by Stephanie Jaworski, seconded by Martin Lang. Be it resolved that the February 1st, 2023 meeting, Committee of the Whole meeting of the Township of South Glengarry now be opened at 5:02. All those in favor? Any opposed? Seeing none, carried. All right, we'll move into, declaration of pecuniary interest. Is there any pecuniary interest that anybody needs to declare? Seeing none, great. Then Section 3, presentations and delegations. 3A, South Glengarry Road Revitalization Plan by EVB Engineering. I believe our CEO wants to introduce them.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, through you. I'd like to introduce some familiar faces to you tonight, Mr. Marco Vincelli and Mr. Ian McLeod from EVB Engineering. They tell me combined they have decades-long experience in terms of roads. Tonight, Council, you'll have before you a lot of information. Hopefully some decisions get made tonight, difficult decisions, and the budget's one of the, if not the most important thing Council has to deliberate and deal with in 4 times in a term. So welcome, Marco and Ian.
All right, good evening, Your Worship, council members and administration. Thank you for the invitation to come and make this presentation to you on the road revitalization plan. Before getting into the presentation, I thought I would review just a couple of the terms that we frequently use through the presentation, just so that everyone has a general understanding. So there is something referred to as high-class bituminous, or HCB, and that makes reference to asphalt. There's low-class, or LCB, which refers to double surface treatment. And then you'll see a term throughout the entire presentation called AADT. And what that is the annual average daily traffic count, which is for each individual road throughout the township. So EVB was asked by administration to review the systems that are in place for the management of the township's road network and provide recommendations that could be put in place to provide guidance on how future road infrastructure upgrade projects can be prioritized and determined. So prior to this presentation, EVB has been in front of council on a few occasions in the past. So these are really good reference presentations that are available to you in your council records. Please note, though, that as we have moved forward, we continue to upgrade and update the cost estimates that have been presented. So the cost estimates that we're discussing in this presentation reflect the most up-to-date unit rates that were seen by the township in last year and forecasted for 2023. So a lot of those unit rates have changed from what has previously been presented. So making up the background information that feeds into the road revitalization program is the road need study, which is one tool the township has. And this is a study that's prepared on a 5-year rotating basis. So the last road need study was prepared in 2021 by Greer Galloway. Another tool the township has is the design standards for roads within the municipality. So currently those municipal design standards are being reviewed and updated as part of a joint effort by the United Counties of SDNG for all of its member municipalities. The township currently has a right-of-way policy bylaw in place, which sets some of the road standards as well as sets the criteria for road surface requirements. So through this bylaw, the only criteria for upgrading a road surface is the traffic count. So as can be seen on this slide, any roads that are above an average annual daily traffic count of 400 should be an HCB road or an asphalt road. Anything between 300 and 400 should be a double surface treated road or an LCB road, and anything underneath 300 counts should be a granular road. Now, within this bylaw and this policy, there is the exception which sets the target to have all roads within hamlets and built-up areas to be asphalt surfaces and not the other two. So within this same bylaw, there's a roadway service policy, and what this policy does is it sets all the minimum levels of maintenance standards for all the roads within the municipality so that the municipality remains in compliance with the provincial regulations. And the latest and the most up-to-date item would be the asset management plan, which identifies all of the capital road infrastructure projects for the next 10 years. And as those projects change, as everything in life seems to do, we need to make sure that we keep the asset management plan updated. So based on the regulation that's in place, there are 2 other mandatory updates for the asset management plan that's going to be occurring. One's in 2024, which includes all the buildings and vehicles into the asset management plan, and then one in 2025, which asks for the municipalities to set a desired level of standards or service for each one of their asset management categories. So all 3 of these items that have been listed help the municipality set up their level of service. So often people wonder, or they've heard this term level of service. So I kind of wanted to review what this level of service really means. And what that is it defines the level of service that the customers receive from the municipality. So what do you want when it comes to your municipal roads? You want a safe, accessible road that's comfortable to drive and that is reliable in all driving conditions. So this should be the target that the municipality is setting. So how do you measure your level of service? There's 2 groups of key performance indicators or key PIs that are used. The condition KPIs are the minimum pavement condition or the surface condition, and this information is collected as part of your roads needs study. And these conditions should be used in order to determine the maintenance requirements of your roads. The other performance factors include the paved roads that meet or exceed the allowable traffic volumes, upgrade road pavement structures on the road exceeding maximum travel volumes, widen the roads if the roads are exceeding maximum traffic volumes. So we will discuss these performance KPIs in greater detail through this presentation. So if we were to do a comparison between what your bylaw currently requires as far as your distribution of road surfaces to what the township currently possesses, this slide summarizes that information. So if you read this slide, your roads that have less than a 300 AADT would equate to about 242 kilometers of your roads, and they should be granular. So when you compare your top table to the bottom table, it shows that you have 145 kilometers of roads that are granular compared to what your bylaw requires. Now, a lot of those roads are urban roads, and so there's about 53 kilometers of urban roads. So if you move those urban roads, which usually have a low AADT count, into that first category, it very closely resembles the level of service that the town is providing, and it shows that you are actually ahead of the game and you have more of your roads that are an asphalt surface than what your bylaw would stipulate. So that's a good information, and if you have questions on the slide, we can review that again. So to better understand the impacts of various roads,
I just have a question, if we could go back to that last one, just for understanding. So at the upper part of that slide, 241.7 kilometers with AADT of under 300, 53 of those should kind of be moved to the 400 series. If we're bringing the hamlets, that'd be 111, is about right?
That is correct.
Okay, so that would mean we have about 42 kilometers over servicing what our minimum standard is based on our policy, essentially.
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
So again, sorry, to get a better understanding of the impacts of having the various road surfaces in the township, we have reviewed the maintenance requirements of the 3 different surface toppings and tried to establish what the annual cost is to maintain these roads. So this slide summarizes your granular roads. And when we had the road committee, we sat down and we evaluated 3 different classes of roads. And those classes were determined based on their usage, the type of traffic that traveled upon them. So the roads that were more heavily traveled and had heavier traffic were rated as a Class A versus a Class C, which would have lighter traffic and less traffic. So what impacts those classes the most is the rate of the application of additional granulars. So for a Class A road, we would have 3 inches or 75 millimeters of granulars applied every 4 years versus a Class C road, which would see 75 millimeters or 3 inches of granulars every 8 years. So that application rate then converts over to tons per year with the same unit rate of application. So you'll see the granular application for these roads will now vary from $2,000 to just over $5,000 per kilometer of road. So when we take that granular application rate and add the other items required for granular road maintenance, which includes gradings of the road on a quarterly basis, the dust application, and then shouldering of the roads when the application of granulars occur, the cost to the municipality will vary from $5,200 to almost $9,000 a kilometer of granular road for the ongoing maintenance. And if we took a look at the granular requirements here versus what was applied in 2022, based on these application rates, you would need about 34,000 tons. And checking with Ms. McDonald, we applied about 35,000 tons of granular last year. So we were meeting the minimum level of maintenance requirements on the granular roads. So when we look at the other 2 surface types, we have the annualized cost of the LCB road, or the double surface treated roads. So what we have done is we have made the assumption that the double surface treatment would last 7 years. So when you convert your roads to this class of road surface, you'd be reapplying that surface treatment on a 7-year basis. So that comes to a cost of about $14,000 a kilometer. So your costs for granular roads of $5,000 to $9,000 have now increased to about $14,000 to maintain your double surface treated roads.
Please do put your hand up if you have a question. Deputy Mayor
I do
Martin.
have a question. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, through you. And I wasn't sure if you wanted to wait to the end of the presentation and then ask questions, or if you want us to interrupt, and I don't know what's easier.
I think it's best per slide, and if you have an overall question, we can wait to the end, but you might have clarification questions. Go ahead, please.
All right, I'm back to the every 7 years that we're assuming that, I call them tar and chip roads, have to be redone every 7 years. Have we ever redone one less than 7 years? I might have to turn.
Can I, point of order, how we